the New Orleans Saints won 7 games a season ago. And there are way more obvious candidates than the Saints. But they were top 10 in both offensive and defensive success rate last year. I'm not a huge Derek Carr fan, but he's a sizable upgrade over what they were rolling out in Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton. And neither of those guys could close out a close game. There was turnover issues. The defense held up for the entirety of the season. That was with Marcus Davenport on the shelf for basically half the year. Davenport, David Onyemata walked away in the offseason. I'm not suggesting that those guys aren't going to be losses for New Orleans, but the Saints were 29th in defensive pressure rate last season. They bring in Kalen Saunders on the defensive line, not a big pass rusher. Nathan Shepard, he enters the fray on the defensive line. He's actually a really solid pass rusher. So maybe their pass rush gets better, can't get much worse. And if we look at some of the luck factors out there, Jeff, the Saints were bottom 10 in the league in net turnovers. They were bottom 10 in the league in adjusted man games lost due to injury. They were bottom 10 in the league in opponents' field goal percentage. Even if they get some slight positive regression in those categories, that could be a huge deal for them this year. But the most important thing for me, and anyone who wants to go out and do this, is look at the Saints' schedule. Like, it is an absolute cakewalk of a schedule. The toughest teams they're going to play this season, according to my preseason power ratings, are the Lions and the Jags. And both of those games are going to be at home for them, where they're probably going to be like a pick'em or even a small favorite. So the schedule just sets up so favorably for them. Derek Carr, whose career numbers have taken a big dip whenever he plays in bad weather, he's going to be playing 13 of the 17 regular season games in a dome. And on top of that, the road travel at the end of the year, where it's typically cold, is going to be to LA and it's going to be to Tampa Bay. Like, I cannot think of a more perfect schedule to make an average team look like a great team in the regular season. But I think the Saints are very live in the alternate line overs market if they get some help. I don't like Dennis Allen. I think he's one of the league's worst coaches. But I could see this being like a team that has a lot of like regular season success. People buy into them going into the playoffs, and they're a one and done team in the playoffs. I just think it's a really favorable schedule for them this year. So I like the upside with the Saints based off of that.